Hey everybody, so I am back to briefly discuss the film Twice Bitten. Now, for those of you who may not know, Twice Bitten actually premiered this week on BET. So I made another video in regards to how you can watch it if you do not have the cable channel, because I personally don't have cable. I personally do not care about paying for cable. I have been streaming most of the shows that I watch, which has caused me to suffer a lot when I have to do a discussion on something and I don't have access to it. But I did not know there is a platform called Philo, or maybe it's pronounced Philo, and you're able to pay a monthly fee in order to access numerous cable channels. And I think the downside to that is you can only watch the shows when they air on actual cable television channels. If it was just a regular streaming platform, then you could watch a show anytime you want to. So I had to get used to that. But sure enough, I finally caught the film Twice Bitten last night, 10 p.m., because it actually was an encore presentation for on BET last night at 10 p.m. So I'm just curious to know who watched it, and I wanted to do this brief discussion. Now, first and foremost, I enjoyed the film. The cinematography to me was pretty good for a film that was made for TV. I felt like they did a great job with how everything looked in the film. Now the acting was what I expected for a TV film. Okay, sometimes I can be a little too nice with these discussions, but I'm gonna be honest. The acting was what I expected for a TV film. It wasn't like it was horrible, but at the same time, it wasn't the greatest. But I expected it for a TV film. Now, I felt like the film was rushed, but again, it was a TV film, and I assume they only have but so much time to complete the film anyway. In Twice Bitten, you have this main character by the name of Matthew, or at least that's what he led Lisa Ray's character, Monique. He led Monique to believe that his name was Matthew. Mind you, Monique is played by the actress Lisa Ray. But of course, originally, like in the beginning of the video, we see that he is talking to Monique while creeping on his, I guess, present girlfriend that he's living with, mind you. And her name is Jessica. And Jessica is played by the actress Lettucey. And of course, we also know Lettucey is a singer as well, a performer. And so we know he's scum. We know he's scum right off the rip. We if you've seen the trailer, you know he's going to be the one that we're going to have the issue with in the film, as well as just seeing the beginning of the film. So we know he's shady, but what we probably can't figure out is, okay, is this just a man creeping on his woman, or is there more to it? And as you watch the film, you'll realize there's more to it. So what the film is about is you got this guy, he's living under different aliases, and he basically likes to attach himself to wealthy women and use them for their money. And Jessica, as well as Monique, were victims of his in this film. But apparently there was possibly numerous others. Not to mention, he also got himself into situations where he owed some bad people and they wanted to kill him. So now there was a motive for what he was doing. It wasn't just about him living a lavish lifestyle off of these women. No, he had to rip these women off in order to pay these men off so he could continue to live, because they clearly wanted to kill him. However, what I thought was what made this film even more interesting, because with that storyline, it's like, okay, we've seen stuff like this before, right? Men using women for money. We've seen stuff like this. But what made the story even more attractive and engaging is the fact that it turns out that Monique's lawyer, who also was her late husband's best friend, was also in on the whole scheme. He was working with Matthew. Again, he has many aliases, but he was working with Matthew, the family lawyer, if that's what you want to call him. He was working with Matthew and helping Matthew obtain women, wealthy women, to be able to basically manipulate and get access to their money. And the crazy thing is, he's an attorney that oversees, these women's estate. So he has access to their money. Whenever these women are making large purchases, they go through him and get his counsel in order to make the final transaction. And what is interesting is, in the film, we see that the attorney gives pushback against Monique in particular, being with Matthew. And it made it so believable. It made it seem as though he had Monique's best interest in mind. His not only his client, but also his former best friend, late best friend's wife in mind, in her best interest in mind. But come to find out, that wasn't the case at all. He actually knows Matthew, and he had been working with Matthew in order to set these women up that he basically fed to Matthew on a plate. He served these women up on a plate because he knew that these women were wealthy. He knew their situation. He knew they were vulnerable single women. And he used this very handsome, rugged, good looking man. And, Matthew, of course, was a total. I know y'all don't like this word. I know we're tired of hearing this word on the internet, but I'm gonna do it anyway. He seemed to have been a total narcissist. He was very self-absorbed. He really convinced himself that he was right in what he was doing. And he was playing this little mind game at the end with Monique, Lisa Ray's character again. He was playing this mind game with her, like, I really do love you. Like, no, like that's not love. He really thought he was doing everything that he was supposed to do. He didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing. So you could probably think of a whole bunch of psychological terms to describe this dude, as well as the attorney. The attorney was crazy too. As far as Lisa Ray's character Monique goes, she wasn't exactly an airhead. Lettucey's character Jessica, as well as Lisa Ray's character Monique, they don't seem like they were airheads. They seem like what had happened, and I believe this probably happens to a lot of women. And I want to say women, I'm sure men have their experiences as well, but since this film is about women going through this, I am going to focus more on the women. And also being a woman myself, I know this to be true. Now, I've never cut no man those type of checks or whatever, but I have done some silly things in my youth when it came to dating, not fully understanding that there's precautions to take. And I'm gonna give y'all my personal opinion. I personally do not agree with women in a relationship giving a man money. I do not agree with that. I just don't. It makes me sick to my stomach. Now, if you are someone who is for that, that's okay, because everyone and their requirements for their relationship and their standards is not for everyone else. So some women and some men are comfortable in their relationship with the woman taking care of the man and giving the man large lump sums of money, and it may work for them. I don't know every person, so I'm not about to get on here. I'm no relationship guru. I'm not about to get on here and claim like, oh, it never works and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like that's not because I know the type of man that I desire, that would not work for me. That me personally, I'm attracted to men that provide. It would be counterproductive for me to be signing checks over to that man. Like, it just makes no sense. But in the case of Monique and Jessica, on the outside looking in, many of us, maybe looking at them like they're stupid. They were so stupid. They were about to give this man all this money. But in a way, I understand. They were in a relationship with him. He portrayed himself to be some big time contractor, and on top of it, he was younger than these women. I feel like these women, when they realized he was younger than them and they could see he hadn't quite arrived monetarily where they had arrived, in their mind it was like, okay, he's younger, he's trying, I'm gonna help him up, I'm gonna help him out, and I feel like they did that because he was younger. Like, they excused his lack of resources because he was younger, and since they were older and more established, they felt the responsibility to pull him up. And that's kind of weird. That's kind of, in my opinion, that's like a son. That's not like that's your man. Then that's like that's your son. If you're pulling him up, is that not like pulling a little brother up or a son up? If he was an older man that y'all were dating, would y'all still look at him like that? Would y'all be a little more like, well, you should have your stuff together because you're an older man, I'm not about to give you anything. But because he's younger, and I feel like, that's probably part of the reason, even though I know this is just a script, y'all, but I'm sure stuff like this happens in real life. So, like, I'm just wondering, in the case of Jessica and Monique, even though I know their characters, I'm just wondering if, if for women out here like that, is it because they do see that as, well, I'm helping him out. He is young. He's doing great things. He's attempting to do great things. The least I could do is help him out. Like, would you do that if he was older? Perhaps you don't need to be dating a younger guy then, especially, and perhaps more importantly, he should not be dating you if he's not on your level or above your level, because now, in my opinion, that's going to put him in a place of feeling insecure, because he knows, and it's always going to be in his mind, that his success, if success should come from such an investment, will be because of his woman giving him the money in order to achieve it. Now, that, again, This may happen out here in real life and it may work for some. And I don't like that. It just makes me sick to my stomach. Y'all let me know below if I'm like if it seems like I'm being melodramatic, or or if you agree or if you don't agree. Let me know in the comment section. I personally think that's where these women really messed up. And let's say he wasn't a cheater. Let's say he was genuine. Again, I don't know what the women get out of it to have a man that cannot provide for them, and can barely provide for himself if he has to turn to them for money. What do they get out of all of this? Just the fact that he's with them? Like, I just don't get it. So moving forward, that they both gave him money. Jessica, again, Lettucey's character, gave him $50,000. She cut him a check for $50,000. She said to him, I believe in you. I believe in what you are doing. And she cut him a check. And I assume it was because of some stupid business venture that he made up to her. And he gave her that sob story, as we saw him give Lisa Ray's character, Monique. And she felt like, okay, well, this is my man and I believe in him and I'm going to give him this money to help him start his dreams and prove to him that I believe in him. And I think these women too, they genuinely felt like, okay, if I do this, it is an investment. I would, not only would he see a return on it, then I would see a return on it as well. But see, there lies the issue. It's a gamble. You are gambling. Why do you have to gamble in a relationship? If he really loved you, he would not put you in a position to have to gamble like that. He would not be sitting up here saying to you, "Hey, babe, let me borrow $50,000." And I'm not saying that's what he did, because unfortunately, he was very manipulative. He understood how to use his words and his dramatics in order to get what he wanted out of these women. And unfortunately, his manipulation in combination with their insecurity and them being naive made a great recipe for him being able to get what he want, because we can't just put it all on him. They were like voluntarily giving him the money, like, and it's unfortunate, but this is what happens when you have women willing to purchase love. And again, some may not look at it like that, but I just don't get the point of being with someone who you have to give money to. Like, should they not be, especially as a man, should he not already be established and never come, like, is there not banks where you could not get a loan? Was that not an option? Payday loan or something? Like, was that not an option? That's not, oh gosh, it's just not. And again, you have women comfortable with this, so that is their business. I just don't agree with it. Lisa Ray, same situation. Her character, Monique. Monique, he told her about this investment. He was all excited, y'all. He pulled out a dollhouse. Okay, he pulled out a dollhouse. I was laughing at that. I said, she don't know no better. She don't work in the industry that he working in. She don't know that this dude and pulled out a dollhouse on her, talking about, this is it. This is going to set us up for life. And then he gonna have the nerves to propose to her with the ring that he didn't stole from the last woman. He didn't basically stole money from, took her money and ran. He stole her engagement ring and gave it to Monique. I was like, this is crazy. They did a great job with that, because that really pisses you off as someone watching the show. Like, oh my goodness, I gotta keep watching, because now I need to make sure that he get his in the end. Like, I have to see him get his in the end. What a scum bucket. And sure enough, he act like that deal fell through after showing her that fake dollhouse model of a project. He act like the deal fell through. He act like he was so stressed out about it and dropping glass all over the floor. Glass that he can't pay for, mind you, because if he's borrowing money from her to pay for the so-called project, he didn't drop her glass on the floor in her kitchen and he can't even pay for it. Like, this film, I had to get on camera for this one, because this is a cautionary tale. This was not just a film for anybody. This was definitely a cautionary tale. Again, this type of stuff can happen to a man. Yes, it can, but because it's a film about it happening to women, and again, I am a woman, this, it really resonates with me and really gets under my skin. All in all, we saw in the film in the end that he was indeed working with the attorney. He kills the attorney because they got into a scuffle about the $300,000 that the attorney had been holding. He didn't release the funds, and meanwhile, he needed the money. Matthew, the guy with the many aliases, he needed the money to pay those bad guys because they were going to kill him. I don't even know if he was going to pay the guys, because then we hear there's a scene where he's calling someone saying, listen, I need these passports. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here, or whatever the case may be. And so I don't even know if he was planning on paying the bad guys, or was he just going to run to another country and start all over again? Like, and that's another thing too. I feel like he was able to get away with what he was doing because he was a very handsome man. He was a very handsome man. He ain't my type, but like, I mean, like, as far as the character goes, like, if I met him, I would think he's very over the top. I wouldn't see, him as being genuine. He was very over the top, and it just, a lot of things wasn't consistent about him. And again, like they say, you can do a Google search on almost anyone nowadays and they would come up. Even if they do not have social medias, chances are you can find their voter registration. If they are registered to vote, you can find their voter registration information. So it's always a way to access someone's background. For him, you could not access his information. And for him to have been someone that's like owning his own construction company or whatever he claimed he owned, that doesn't make sense, because nowadays when you're running a business, you definitely benefit off of having a social media page, whether it's a website or, and or other social media pages. So it just, none of it made any sense. And that probably would have been the first thing I would have done after meeting him, is get on Google. But again, he was also dating older women who I think wasn't thinking that way. They were just so enthralled with this very handsome young man, and he appeared to have been successful, made himself, seemed to be a successful. I don't feel like these ladies were desperate. I don't feel like these ladies were desperate at all. I feel like they were vulnerable and they were naive. That's what I feel like they were. I don't think it was desperate, because he approached them, or at least it seemed that way, that he approached them, because of course he did pursue them with the assistance of the attorney. He knew how to seek those women out, and he did so. So I don't feel like they were desperate. I just feel like they were vulnerable, very naive. Even though Monique, Lisa Ray's character, had a friend who was attempted to run background checks and warn her, she felt as though that friend was jealous of her and her relationship, because I guess the friend's husband had left her. And she probably felt like the friend was insecure and also jealous of the fact that she was moving on before the friend was. But in actuality, the friend was looking out for her. And at first I was like, thinking like, well, the friend is right. But because we know the friend is right, we know that this dude is no good. They revealed this to us at the beginning of the film. There was never a point in the film that we should have felt like this dude was cool, except for at the very beginning when he's talking to Lisa Ray, and before they pan out to the scene where he goes back in the room with Lettucey. Like, that's the only time in the film that we should have thought that this character was good. But other than that, we know he's scum. But with the best friend, I get she was looking out for her friend, but at the same time, I did feel like it was time she was just doing too much. Like, okay, fall back, give it some time. You do your thing. If you want to research old dude, do that. But you don't have to be all up in your best friend's face about it, like dogging her and calling her stupid and stuff. Like, relax, because the truth will always reveal itself. If anything, you pushing a friend away more when you're attempting to pull the wool from over their eyes so that they can truly see who a person is, or truly see a situation for what you believe it to be. You'll push that friend away, and you may even lose that friend. But you fall back, you do your research, you watch closely, okay? You watch closely, and eventually that person gonna reveal who they were. And sure enough, that's what it took. It took him to have to reveal for her to find out on her own. You notice it didn't take the best friend telling Monique about him, because all the time she tried to tell Monique about Matthew and how Matthew, something shady was going on, she rejected it. But it wasn't until Monique discovered on her own and did her own investigation that she realized that the best friend was right. So again, as a friend, you could give your warnings, but then fall back, because you'll mess around and lose your friend that way. So anyway, y'all seen the film, y'all seen how it ends. And I really don't understand. Did he die in the end? Did he die in the end? I don't know. I guess he died in the end, because she did shoot him like twice in the stomach. And then in the end, the best friend, Monique, Jessica, as well as the daughter, are all together, and they're thriving and starting this business, I guess, together, or whatever the case may be. And something about a life insurance policy, which I assume was Matthew's life insurance policy, and how they all split it. So I guess he did die. Listen, I didn't, that's the part that kind of went over my head. But all in all, cautionary tale, because I highly doubt that it always ends up like this in real life. all beautiful and stuff. Like I believe in real life a lot of times, or some of the times, I'm sure it ends in heartbreak and a woman having trust issues. And if she hasn't been depleted of all her resources, mind you, because these women, they could have seriously lost everything, especially if they would have married old dude. I don't think I've seen something so cautionary since Everything But a Man, starring Monica Calhoun. Like that was another one of these type of films where the woman is taking care of the man and she all happy and whatever because she got a man. But again, I feel like Lisa Ray's character Monique, I don't know much about Lettucey's character Jessica and how she interacted with him, because of the fact that we didn't really get to see that play out. We got to see more of Matthew and Monique's relationship play out. And I feel like with those two, Monique wasn't desperate. It wasn't that she was desperate. She genuinely just believed in him. She genuinely just believed in him the same way Jessica, Lettucey's character, said that she believed in him before she gave him the $50,000 check. Monique genuinely believed in him, and he portrayed himself to be something so great, and he treated her nicely. It's not like he was abusive and yelling at her, cursing her out or nothing. He treated her well. So she really didn't have any reason not to believe him. But honey, if your standards don't tell you you are to never give a man no damn $300,000, $50,000, $1,000, $2, $3, like if I got to be giving you that, why are we together? No, no, it's just about what are your standards? How are you living? Like I would take issue with giving a couple of dollars, being asked for a couple of dollars by a man, let alone 50,000. And that's where these women, in my opinion, went wrong. I don't know where they standards were at that point. I get it, it can happen, no judgment here, because I have my horror stories from my youth. I say this, and this may not even seem like a big deal to some of y'all, but I remember on Christmas, it was a Christmas years ago, I was dating an older man actually. And I was asking him, like, well, what you want for Christmas? And he told me like this cologne that he wanted. And I bought the cologne. Did he buy me anything? No, no. So that was the very last thing I've ever done for a man. Ever since I get, okay, and I don't care who sees this. I receive. I do not give in relationships. I receive. If anything, I give you, it would be love, be some kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It'll be some respect. It'll be some time, because hell, that's expensive as it is. But never again. As far as like reciprocating gifts, that's fine. But even that should have, in my opinion, for me, okay, I'm not no relationship coach. This is what I do. For me, it's going to have a limit, because there's no way in the world, again, as a woman, I don't even feel like as a man would even be comfortable, depending on the type of man I'm looking for anyway. I do not feel like he would even be comfortable with me giving a monetary gift that is truly like over a certain amount of money. Like I don't even think he'll be comfortable with that. Like, no, baby, I'm giving to you. What are you doing? Yeah, I think these women, that's the one thing that they may have not necessarily been desperate, but they definitely were naive and needed some standards when it came to their relationship. So that is it. The next, I really wanted to do this discussion because I really enjoyed this film and I just wanted to be on camera for it. Okay? The next film that is set to premiere is a film titled Karen, and that will premiere on September 14th on BET channel, not BET Plus, but BET channel. So that will be the next film in the Summer of Chills lineup. So that is it, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for being patient with me in this video, as I'm a little rusty with being on camera, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.